So have you ever wondered, there are people making six figures in their 20s. They have the same 24 hours like everyone else, whilst people in 30s or 40s are making 10 times less, and they have what I call leverage. They know that the internet is a form of leverage. By making content and selling online, they don't need to wake up and get ready for a job, to commute 2 hours and spend 8 hours on something they don't care about. And I've done it. I've been making money online since I was 12 years old, and I've made over $4,000 online by the age of 18. So in this video, I'm gonna explain to you how these people can do it. And this is how they leverage focus and the attention economy to make more money and get more results with less time. You see, the difference between someone who made it and someone who didn't is basically how they leverage their focus and productivity. So they no longer procrastinate and 10 times their results. It's not about the business model they are doing. It's about what type of work they want to focus on. They know how to use their work so they can focus on what matters. They leverage the attention economy so they make 10 times more than people in their 30s. So now let's get into the video. So the first principle you have to plan in your mind is that work is fun. When people talk about their 9-to-5 jobs, you often hear about the overwork and not getting paid enough. They are shit talking their boss, thinking they deserve to make more. But the truth is that they don't have a job that is fulfilling. Let's talk about Isaac Newton. He completely changed our lives forever because he discovered the concept of gravity and force. Do you think Isaac Newton was hating his job, sitting there in his room and complaining? Even if we remove money from the equation, do you think he would have done the same? Because we're not used to doing tasks that don't require a high level amount of focus. This is the maintenance task that doesn't really bring you fulfillment. Instead, Isaac Newton was doing productive tasks, which was finding the reason why the apple fell from the tree. And you can apply this to your life. If you want to do something that is hard, at least make it fun. And do you think I'm sitting there recording content and putting hours is easy? The truth is, it is not. But I found this work is fun. And maybe you might ask, how can you make the work fun? So you can find the work that challenges your curiosity and you find it engaging and purposeful. This work can actually help other people and solve their problems. So you can ask ChatGPT, if I were my future self doing something I care about, what is exactly the work I do every day? Even if I don't make money from it, do I still enjoy what I'm doing? Because once you start thinking about how you can make money from it, all of a sudden your mind starts thinking about the survival mode, how you can use this money to pay for the next month's rent. You have to find a way to make money and cover your bill first, so you don't need to think about it. Then you can do the work that is fun. Months or even years from now, you can make it full-time and make 10 times more than your current job. The key is to make the work fun. Don't think about how you can make money from it. Think about how you can make progress each time. And by doing this work, you can solve other people's problems and change their life. And this is why I keep making content every single week over the past 1.5 years. I want to make money online, but at the same time, I want to give my lessons to other people. You watch this video right now because you want to learn lessons from me. And this is why I made a $1 ebook so that you can get the lessons faster than just randomly watching you do content. So inside this book, I share my lessons over the past 7 years making money online. So you can grab it now, link in the description below. So I mentioned before that Isaac Newton was doing productive work while people you see on a day-to-day basis doing maintenance work. And this is also why Cal Newport in his book Deep Work makes a difference between deep work and shallow work. So I want to make it simple and self-explanatory. So let's talk about what exactly maintenance work is. When your boss is telling you to do a job like answering emails, changing the website theme, making a to-do list, schedule a meeting, this is what I call maintenance work. Of course, you can't really ignore this type of work, but you can prioritize which work you want to do, because maintenance work doesn't necessarily move you toward your goals. It's just a type of work that makes sure your life runs smoothly. If all you do every day is just maintenance work, this is the problem. Because let's say if you want to achieve your goals, you've got to do something beyond just maintenance work. And this is actually hard, and most people don't realize it. So what can you do now with the maintenance work? Of course, you can keep doing maintenance work every single day, but keep this in mind. Do it after you do the productive work. Now let's talk about productive work. When I say productive, it's all about doing something that gets you results in life, whether in the short term or long term. And I'm brutally honest with you, productive work is hard. And this is what Isaac Newton did every single day. And he eventually inventing the theory of gravity, writing a script for content based on the knowledge you want to share, and giving the exact step by step so that your audience can get the benefits. Making content and learning about tonality, speaking, and how you position yourself as an authority so that people can follow your advice. Coding a new feature for your startup so that your company would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars in the future. Again, productive work is hard, and it requires mental bandwidth, and most of the time you won't get immediate results from doing it. But after, let's say, 6 to 12 months, you will realize that doing productive work is actually worth it. So I want you to ask ChatGPT, what are the maintenance work and productive work that my future self does on a daily basis? How can I structure it so that I still make progress and not merely come to stagnation? Now you can tell the difference between productive work and maintenance work. You prioritize productive work at the beginning of your day. This way, you don't end up feeling productive when all you do is just maintenance work. You keep making progress even it's small. In 6 months from now, you will get the fruit. Your body looks more muscular, you make more money from your business, your life is optimized and fulfilling. I don't believe in working 12 hours a day and doing it for the rest of my life. It is not possible for you to maintain this habit and make it normal. And of course, if you are in a season of monk mode, you've got to channel all of your energy into one thing, that is work. But then you got to realize you need to learn from books, podcasts, or even long-form content. When I was 12 years old, I was so addicted to video games. I would spend hours watching video games content on YouTube. But now I do the same thing. I love listening business podcasts and spend hours consuming long-form educational content. I don't enjoy watching highly edited content, and that is one of the reasons I don't make entertainment content. I love consuming educational content, raw, unedited, and full of knowledge. Long-form content is a supplement for your productive work. Even if you don't always get value from watching content, at least you don't mess up your dopamine receptors by just watching short-form content. And instead, you find it enjoyable watching 1 to 2 hours podcasts or even long-form educational content. Make it conscious. Take notes when you're listening to educational content or podcasts. Treat it like you're listening to a teacher in a classroom. Study the knowledge from the content you consume. Create a 2-hour window after your productive work and use it to consume high-quality content about fitness, relationships, or business. Write down what you learn. I have a dedicated notes for this. I basically consume long-form content every single day, and I always taking notes from it. Even if I don't remember 99% of the knowledge, I can come back later and remind myself of what I've learned. This is how you make changes in your work. You don't do the same thing every day. You change how you work because you've learned that the maximum deep work session is 90 minutes, according to research. How you actually practice what you consume and you become the top 1% of humans. You don't just mindlessly consume content until productive. You actually take action based on the knowledge you've learned. You're still watching this video because you want to fix your focus. Well, you are already in the top 1% of human attention span because truthfully, you can hold your attention span for more than 8 seconds. Now you want to know what kind of work will actually move the needle. You're tired of practicing all the good habits and trying every tactic you see online. Sure, you're making progress, but it is still slow. And it feels like it takes half of your day to just feel productive. And that is why you need to focus on what actually moves the needle. When I first started making content on YouTube, I was confused. Was it writing the script, recording the video, replying to comments? What will really bring me closer to my goals? But after trying every productivity tactic on the internet, I realized there's just one thing you need to focus on: deep work. This is what changed everything in my business, fitness, and relationships. Find one activity you can do for 2 hours every day for the next 6 months without worrying about the results. Make it your non-negotiable. If you don't do it first thing in the day, you should feel like you didn't give your best. You can work 12 hours a day on your business, but is that really what makes you progress? If you know that just 2 hours of deep focused productive work every day, work that brings you fulfillment and helps other people, can give you better results than 2 hours of shallow effort, then that is the task you need to prioritize. Maybe for you, it is coaching, making content, or building a product. Whatever it is, make it that 1% task your priority, because 99% of what you do today won't matter 5 to 10 years from now. But that 1% task, that is the one that will change your life forever. This is why I share my weekly lessons about the journals or papers or even books I read about focus and productivity, as well as the lessons from my business. I made it for free, so join my newsletter. Link in the description below. You don't want to be the kind of person who only relies on New Year's goals. You want to build something that lasts not just for the next 6 months, but maybe even the next 6 years. And I came across a study that said it takes an average of 66 days to build a habit. So if you can stick with your productive work for the next 66 days, you've already made it a habit. And the thing about habits, you don't even have to think about them because you just do it. That is when work becomes powerful. It's no longer draining, it becomes automatic. And that is when your life starts to change. Success is not guaranteed, but one thing is true: if you stick to it long enough, you will get results faster. And I've been making content since 2023. At this point, it's a second nature for me to make content and talk to camera, and I don't have a problem with it. Now I focus on sharpening specific skills like the thumbnails, speaking, and copywriting. But I've been through the hard path. I know how tough it is to just show up for 30 days. If you can push that and keep going for the next 66 days, I guarantee you will find doing productive work easy. You're not just building a habit, you're proving yourself that you are serious about this. So I noticed something strange after making content for a while. At first, it was hard to pick up my phone and start recording, but once I get used to it, it is so easy for me to just go on talking to camera, explaining you my learning lessons. I was just making content for the sake making content, but then something clicked. I asked myself, what if this is not just about making content? What if this is about building a business? And suddenly everything shifted. Now content wasn't the end goal. It was just a marketing tool for my business. That is when I had to take things to the next level. I started learning about copywriting, how to structure my words, how to make every sentence engaging and not boring. I studied minimalistic editing, how to insert emotions into a video, not just cut clips together. This is what I call increasing the difficulty. Maybe for you, it means taking a paid course or pay for a mentor, because if you never increase the difficulty of your work, you will fall into the trap of maintenance work. It is easy, it feels productive, but it doesn't move you forward. But when you commit learning deeply about specific knowledge, when you realize you actually know nothing about this, that is when everything changes. That is when you finally start to see results. If you see people on social media promoting the perfect routine to start a day, I want to tell you the truth. They are lying about this. They don't do what they preach. And here's the truth. If you want to truly optimize your day, you only need to focus on a maximum of 3 things. And for me, it is simple: university, business, and fitness. And that's it. I don't add more routines in my life, like cold plunge, doing some yoga, doing some push-up before work, or even running 10 minutes before recording this content. I read books, I create content, and I help people solve their problems. I don't waste time on cold plunges, I will allow meditations or running before I get to work. I just do the work because I know it is the most important thing I need to do. So if you're building a routine, make it as efficient as possible. You don't need to wait hours before you start working. That's just wasting your time and energy. Focus on just top 3 things in your life. You got to optimize your day and you will start seeing results. It's not about finding the best technique to 10x your productivity. It's about how you do the work, your mindset, and your action. Because if you just enjoy watching content without practicing what you've learned, you're doing what 99% of people do: procrastinating. You end up wasting your time and energy. And if you want to see real results, it means you have to focus on what really matters. I've noticed huge progress in my fitness, business, and self-education by practicing these 4 principles and reminding myself that results take time. Focusing on what really moves the needle is how I make progress and optimize my daily life so that work becomes a seamless part of my day. If you just implement one thing I've shared to you in this video, I believe you will 10x your productivity in the next 12 months. And if you want to take this to the next level, consider working one-on-one with me. I've created a one-on-one program that teaches you how to develop your focus so that productivity is no longer your problem. And my 5 productivity frameworks will help you to see results in the next 12 weeks. Paulo and Sakef, my students inside my program, have completely cured their procrastination forever. They no longer have a problem with productivity, and they are now making money online as a result of following my frameworks inside the program. So click the first link in the description below. And don't forget to grab my $1 ebook link in the description below, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.